Protect women! Protect life!
This was a crucial decision for the future of abortion rights in the country, the first time the Supreme Court tackled the issue in the Trump era. The case has been closely watched by both sides of the debate. Anti-abortion activists are unhappy with the result.
I'm very disappointed, and I believe that this is a huge loss for the women of Louisiana and for the women of this country. We stand in solidarity with those women today, and we seek justice.
At stake was a Louisiana law that imposed new regulations on abortion doctors to protect women's health, the state argued. Opponents said it wasn't necessary and would force all but one of Louisiana's abortion clinics to close, including the one that challenged the law. Today, they celebrated a battle won.
We're on quite the high. The Supreme Court has spoken and finally said something that I think it's something our lawmakers need to hear. Today's ruling does maintain the status quo in that all three clinics can remain open, but it has done nothing to advance reproductive rights. That battle continues to go on.
The Supreme Court granted the right to abortion in 1973 in the landmark Roe v. Wade case.
So help me God. Congratulations.
But President Trump shifted the court to the right with the appointment of two conservative judges, putting the charged issue of abortion back into play. In the end, though, the conservative Chief Justice cast the deciding vote to strike down the Louisiana law, citing a previous legal precedent rather than engaging the issue. This was a blow to Mr. Trump, who has positioned himself as an advocate of anti-abortion activists.
Unborn children have never had a stronger defender in the White House.
An important part of his base in an election year. The decision upholds the status quo for now, but there are other test cases to come, and given the makeup of the court, this marks more of a pause than an end to the battle over abortion rights. Barbara Platt-Usher, BBC News, Washington.
Well, an hour ago, I spoke to Alexis McGill-Johnson, president of Planned Parenthood Action Fund, who support women's rights to access abortion. So let's hear from the other side now. Catherine Foster, president and CEO of Americans United for Life, a pro-life group who oppose abortion. She's in Washington. Thanks very much for being with us.
Pleasure to be here, Lewis.
So what's your reaction to today's decision?
This case was about women's health and safety. It was about women's lives and saving women's lives. Women die from abortion. Women are harmed from abortion because it is an inherently violent act. And this law, this ruling, it's going to leave women of color, Black, Indigenous, and women of color more vulnerable than ever. The people at the margins, the women at the margins are the ones who are disproportionately affected by this law. And that's why these types of community health and safety protections, the ones that were advanced by the powerful, brave woman of color, Senator Katrina Jackson from Louisiana, are so critical because they do save lives. Well,
Planned Parenthood say this procedure, abortion relative to many others, most other procedures, is relatively safe. And applying these restrictions that doctors must register with a nearby hospital to only abortion doesn't make sense. They described it as medically unnecessary.
I would say, tell that to the family of Keisha Atkins. I have spent time with her mother, with her sister. She died of a dangerous, botched abortion, and she was not given the transport and the emergency care that she needed. This happens all too often in America. And I would say also that the reason why Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry are able to claim that abortion is a quote-unquote safe procedure is because it is unregulated, because we don't have the data, because we aren't tracking the numbers. That is what we need so that women can even provide adequate informed consent. Right now, we can't because we don't know just what we're getting ourselves into. I'm a post-abortive woman myself, and I know that I certainly did not know what I was getting myself into at age 19 when I walked through those clinic doors.
But this law would have shut abortion clinics in the state, restricted people's access to it, which doesn't therefore make it easier to try and make it safer.
I would ask, what is the difference between an unregulated abortion business and a back alley abortion business? When there are no protections for women like me, there is no difference. Then there is no difference between the abortionist on Main Street and the abortion in the back alley.
OK, we'll leave it there. But thank you so much for your time and giving us your thoughts there. Catherine Foster, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Where you can read much more about why abortion is such an important issue in the US right now on our website. We've been looking at what it might mean for the presidential election and also how it could influence American politics right down to a grassroots level. Just log on to bbc.com/news. Right, let's get some of the day's other news now.